Demonic Angel here, and I hope everybody had a safe and fun Halloween. So today I'm going to do the conclusion, part 3 of my tips and advice on astral projection. And then we're going to move on to I'll talk about maybe some of the works of magicians I like, and we'll talk about the Goetia. Just lots of different subjects here. So, okay, I did get a viewer ask me for like advice on how to astral project. And it's kind of funny. I thought about it a lot, and I think this is probably like, I'm just going to throw out my best explanations. So when you're sleeping and you daydream, you are experiencing the astral plane without doing any kind of formal ritual, right, or meditation. It's just this sort of automatic process. And that, you don't have to understand it to do it. It's just going to happen. But you can obviously do it and be more aware of it so that you can get use out of it for things like magic. My advice is, honestly, I would say to really begin and keep yourself, I would say, safe, probably most importantly psychologically, because magic is definitely largely psychological, and therefore you want to work on your psychology. So your shadow work, it would be something I would advise you to work on. And that just means that the things that really bother you, if you have a bad temper, if you have social anxiety, just kind of start by paying attention to those things, and then ask yourself what you think causes it, and then how you think you could better deal with that. And the reason I mention that is because when you astral project and you do magic, you push this out into the astral plane. And if you have a lot of shadow baggage and trauma and illness, you project that out onto the astral plane, and then it's a lot easier to attract psychic sort of vampires on the astral plane to you, because you're projecting your fears and your problems and your anger. Now, we're all going to have little bits of it, and it's just more a matter of trying to understand and work with yourself. So that is definitely something I definitely say. And another advice would be, don't try to consciously astral project when you're experiencing an illness, even like a cold. If you have a long-term illness or something, you're going to have to do it anyway, because that's your sort of station in life. But if you're going through a period where you're particularly vulnerable, just wait, because it's better to do this the more healed you are, okay? So there's that. My other piece of advice, because, it's like, I definitely kind of understand all this witchcraft stuff in an informal way before I understand it in an intellectual, black magic, formal way. But, I definitely, understanding it intellectually has helped me make this process a more ritualized and fun, of course, because it's organized, but it's powerful. And it, you know, the more you do ritual and the more you practice these things, the more real they're going to become. Don't think that just because it doesn't work the first even 30 times, you've got to keep practicing, and it will get easier to connect with, just like that. You know, like if I want to talk to a certain spirit, usually it's just like that for me. And I go and I do drop my ego, and I feel that pressure in the back of my neck and the chakras. And I know that spirit is now with me in the physical plane briefly. And it's pretty much at my own sort of my will now. But it took a while, you know, because when I was younger, it was more like this random thing. So speaking of dropping your ego, you want to meditate, because this kind of helps you clear out the distractions, your racing thoughts of your mind. And dropping your ego is how you're going to perceive all this stuff anyway. You're not you for that second. You're not connecting with your conscious identity. And you drop it through meditation, so you can connect with the lower parts of yourself and, you know, your more primitive brain and the subconscious. And that's where the secret knowledge and ghosts and the spirits and the goetic demons they can come in, because even if it is for a brief second, like with me, I experience this kind of stuff really fast. And I get the information, right? You know, like, you have to drop your connection with your identity. And for some people, that's harder than others. Like, for me, that can just come really natural. But meditation, okay? So just really work on your inner demons, so to say. And of course, you can't ever get rid of them, because they do have a function in the human mind. But, you know, like, you can't have them be your master. And so meditation, once you really kind of make time and you spend time trying to do meditation, things like your certain favorite incense are really great, because it puts you in a state of it alters your consciousness for this. That's the whole point of ritual as well, like the candles, the incense, dressing up for a ritual. It alters the consciousness so that the astral projection is easier. And when I do say, and then when you do that and you kind of set up your space the way, whatever you want, like, you're in your space. Now you're meditating. You could even be in the bathroom, whatever. But now you've kind of spent some time with your own mind, and then, you're ready to project. Now, the astral plane is very much, it looks like this plane of existence, except whatever you think happens right away, and whatever you feel happens right away. And that's why, of course, it's also where fantasies and thoughts are, is because whatever you fantasize about or you think about happens directly there. And it looks like this plane of existence. Now, what you look like when you astral project is usually very similar. Like, I look probably pretty similar, maybe a little bit like less pimples, or I don't imagine my imperfections when I astral project consciously. It's not something I control when I dream, but I look very similar. And that's usually the same way for people. Like, your astral body's generally pretty similar. The only thing that I do is through the years, I've programmed it into my subconscious that if something is going wrong or I perceive something is scary, I could look a different way to just avoid attention on the astral plane. Look like a shadow yourself. So it's not just dead people and spirits that can manipulate their astral body's appearance, but you as a living person as well. And if you want, if you just say, you got to take those intentions. If I feel a negative presence or I feel afraid, then I'm going to become shadow, and that will happen. But once again, you really have to practice at this. So that's kind of what the astral body for us as individuals generally looks like. For me, when I started to formally look at astral projection, one of the goetic demons I started to work with was Marbus. And the reason I did that, have gone with Marbus, and I still love Marbus, is one of my favorite goetic spirits, is because he's got the knowledge of health and disease. So it's like I will draw his sigil sometimes before an astral projection, and that once again is really altering my consciousness. I'm not a good drawer, but that doesn't matter. I understand that whatever bad, whatever ill health, whatever mental problems, whatever I'm afraid of, is necessary for me to heal. And I focus on that while I draw the sigil, sometimes for like a more formalized session, because it seems to be that's really an accurate way to look at it. And I'm going to get sick in the future, and bad things are going to happen to me, but it's helping me grow. This human experience is such a beautiful thing, okay? So I understand that, and I think about it when I draw the sigil. You could work with other spirits of actually astral projection, like Bathan, for example. Definitely recommend, and really great. So, that really can get your mind, like if you just draw, okay, like you don't have to be good at drawing, but taking the time to color that sigil, get your mind, helps you drop that ego, helps you drop your awareness of like yourself so much, and you can you just start focusing on the drawing and letting your mind go. It's perfect for those kinds of things. Now you can you could do runes, you could draw a tarot card, you could scribble, you could just do like, they used to, back in spiritualism, just let your hand start drawing with pen or pencil, because it's an outlet for your subconscious. Okay, so it's just this, that way you can project. And so the better you get at it, sometimes you don't need to think about it. I mean, like, okay, like in my normal life, I'll just be, walking down the street or something, and I have this connection and a spirit just comes through, and I don't think about it, or I don't do a formal ritual, but later, like, they'll usually form an attachment to me, and then later in my dreams, or then I'll go, wow, okay, like this spirit is with me. I'm going to help figure out what I can do for them and what they can do for me, because it's a relationship now. And of course I usually want to move them on, but I want to get to know them first. I'm that kind of a thing, but it flashes through my mind like a movie, like a still picture, and that's really like, that's just where your daydreams and stuff kind of, there's no formality really necessary here. But you can formalize it, and the reason it's attractive to formalize it, because you can put out your attention, like, you want to get healthier, or you want to attract just love in general into your life, or you want to have better relationships, you want a better job, you can just focus that, and that's what I do recommend. Like, even make up your own sigil. That's great. And start saying that to yourself, like while you're drawing and having these candles lit, and you're just like, I'm gonna get that job, and you just tell yourself that, and then usually you'll dream about those intentions too, but you're putting it out there and you're aware of it. You subconsciously your own desires, because you're learning about, as the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself, and you can use that to your advantage to make this work for you. And that is definitely a huge part of the advocacy of magic here, is like just knowing the power of the human mind, and in that it really it can do so much for you, for us. So I do just recommend some basic things, like to just basically recap it. Hey, it just happens when you sleep, when you daydream, when you fantasize. Pay attention to those things, okay? So like when you're, what do you fantasize about? What are you afraid of? What do you want? Then you can take that and start to think about it a lot. Make some time for yourself. Wait till you're alone at night, light some candles, or hey, just go out for a walk, draw a sigil. I've done this a lot. Go out put it in your pocket, go for a walk, and just think about it the whole way. And that's the meditation, that's the projection. It will work, but for some people who are really attached to their ego, and they're not like a hereditary witch or a natural born weirdo like some of us, it's not going to come natural. But it is possible. Like, you can come from that as well, and not have any kind of abilities and do this. Or you can have a ton of abilities, and that'll, if you don't understand that you have abilities, it'll plague you, because you don't understand yourself. And so you can't take that, the spirits who are aligning with your own subconscious intentions, and use it to your advantage and stuff. So like, either way, you have to understand yourself and what's going on here. I really do hope that kind of makes a little bit of sense. I think I'm gonna go for today, since my little daughter is sick and just learning to walk, so speaking of time to yourself, I probably need to take care of her the rest of the day, and I am going to take a long bubble bath and all the good stuff. So definitely I hope some of this advice helps, and those were just some examples. You can use any kinds of spirits from whatever a thing attracts you, and I use from all kinds of whatever. I've just been really attracted to the Goetia probably for the last few years, and it's really been working well for me. I'm not going to recommend all these different, to just jump into the Goetia. That's a whole nother subject too. But there are definitely some better demons for beginners than others, and we'll go over all that. But let me know if this kind of stuff is helping you guys, and we got lots more. I've got lots more to come, and definitely I'm going to talk about some books I like and some things I'm attracted to, because I probably will never run out of things to talk about, as you guys can tell. So I hope you guys all had a great Halloween. And I will probably be back on in a day or two. So blessed be, and peace out.